Hi everyone, welcome back to what is now lesson 4 in the series on how to paint a realistic painting from start to finish. So I'm going to show you in this episode how I establish the tonal values for the background trees and some of the grasses at the front there. Yeah, so with these videos I'm just trying to show you the exact processes I use. There's going to be no cutting out of any of it, so I'm not taking any shortcuts, so you're going to see exactly how I do everything. So please do watch along to the end, and that way you won't miss any of the sort of important commentary where I'll pass on lots of tips and tricks that I use to make the landscapes look more realistic. So let's get on with it now. So this brush here I'm using, it's quite a kind of what you might call a battered old brush, so the bristles are all sticking up here, there and everywhere, but these are really good for suggesting the leaves and broken up bits of the tree. So if you just dab it on like that, then you'll get bits of the sky coming through, which will help with making it look more realistic. Again, you can just, it's like almost like a stippling technique, but it breaks it all up. You can probably see there that it's giving that suggestion of foliage up into the sky there. So it just helps break up this sort of more solid line I've got up here. And again, don't worry about following the exact tree line. You can just use a little bit of your own imagination. But I am still referring to the photograph. But I'll use a similar brush to this for the foreground, but maybe a slightly larger one, depends which part we're doing. But they give nice random effects, as I say, which will help with that impression of distant foliage. Still with the sap green and a little bit of the ivory black and the titanium white in there. You can't see a lot of, I'll still paint what's behind these trees, but in the reference photograph there's a whole lot of canopy and foliage just here. But I'll still put that in just because some of it may show through, it just depends. We'll see how we go. And off to this side, there's a little bit more blue, so I might even use a bit of the cobalt blue. We'll see with the azure blue how much that knocks back. But as I was saying, as you go into the distance, you know, you get more blue hue to your colours. So we'll just add a little bit of that in there. And where I think the colour's too strong, we can knock that back once it's dry if we need to. You know, it's all about looking and assessing where you are with the painting. And don't worry if you don't get it right first time. I mean, quite often I will work over areas, you know, and it might be a number of times to achieve the effect that I want. So, you know, just understand that unless you're, you know, extremely experienced and this amazing artist, you know, it's a big learning process, and that's what I'm sort of here to try and sort of help you with. And making mistakes is absolutely all part of that, and it's not something you should worry about. If you've ever worried about trying to paint like this, just give it a go. But I'm leaving areas where we're going to go over with the other paints. Right. I'm just going to put the put the grass in here. So we're going to lighten off the sap green. Let me see what that looks like. Oh, a bit too much white. I haven't mixed that very well. So just sap green and titanium white, just for this field. That's here. Actually, that's pretty good likeness. Hopefully you'll see there how the addition of the white to the paint will just knock the colours back, just push it back in the painting, which is what we're looking for. So that grass colour is quite nice. Sap green is a very good, what I call a base green to start with. If you're not confident with your colour mixing, it's a great colour when you're doing landscapes, because it's so versatile, and you can just adjust it, with additions of other colours, and you'll get the greens that you want a lot of the time. So it's one I always have on my palette when I'm doing landscapes. Things like Hooker's Green have got a nice richness to it. I think my board's shaking again, as always. But you can see, just leaving bits there. So this battery through line here, we're just going to wait for it to dry a little bit, and then we'll probably, we will add some more detail over the top. Here we've got that, and then we've got a little kind of hedge in there. So add a little bit of the raw sienna to the mix. Probably actually a little bit more of the blue. Yeah, a bit more of the white as well. So a lot of the colour mixing is just adjusting as you go along. Maybe a little bit more blue in that. Let's have a look. Probably more white as well. Just want to be able to see the division between that and the field and the trees at the back. Bit more white into that. Bit more of the blue. I'm hoping this new position for my camera is working better for the filming. So that's a position there. At this stage I'm more interested in getting rough kind of colour and rough position for everything. I'm not concentrating on the detail just yet, not the finer details as such. But we're just establishing the shapes and positions of everything at this stage. Again, referring to the photo. So I can see there's bits I'm going to need to lighten off and darken off here. I'm going to run this colour through the sap green and the titanium white just through to here. There's some darker areas of shadow in that grass there, which we can put in, which is around here. Just looking at the trees casting a little bit of a shadow there, so I'm just darkening it off. A bit more of the ivory black and a bit of a stronger concentration of the sap green just here, just under the tree there. And the grasses have sort of darker areas and lighter areas. So you just want to be looking at the general tone here. Again, we're not worried about the detail here at this point. Just get those colours in. Squeeze out a bit of the Hooker's green for these darker areas here. At the base of the tree here, there's some areas that are a bit darker again. Just scrub that in, and all little bits of variation of colour and tone is kind of what you really want at this stage. And typical of me, I'm getting oil paints everywhere. If you want to know who the clumsiest artist out there is, it's definitely me, I would say. So, not mixing that too well. So there's a lot of sort of darker areas here. I'll get those roughly in. A bit of a lighter area here at the front, so I've just adjusted the colour. A bit more titanium white, a little bit of the raw sienna. And all these, just adding these sort of slight changes of tone and colour will really help interest in the painting and kind of bring it alive rather than it being too monotone, which is what you don't want. But just getting that basic colour scrubbed in there. Just looking again for these darker areas. You know, we can overpaint later, but it's better to get things established at the start. So we've got a bit under there, at the base of this tree here. And then full kind of goes into quite a bit of shadow under there. But yeah, we'll just suggest that there. Little bits there. Just think about the way grasses grow. So I'm scrubbing up and down, which is obviously the general flow of the growth. At this stage again, always going with the flow of nature. It's always advisable. So you can see there, we've just got a basic, that's the first layer of oil paint, and we've got the basic colours, basic positions of things a bit further established now. So I'll show you in a bit more working on the back here, a bit more detail, and to show you how to make that look a bit more realistic.